Welcome aboard a 2019 Kawasaki Voyager. Today we're going to be doing a ride and review, and this is a big review, a kind of a milestone, I guess, in any bike's life is when it hits 10,000 miles. And after our last trip to the Smoky Mountains, it's got a little more than 10,000. We're about almost 10,600 now, of great miles and a lot of enjoyed memories and times we've had on this bike. And what I'm going to do today is talk to you about what I like, what I don't like, and I think that at this point, at this stage of ownership, I can kind of objectively do that. So with the ride and review, let's talk about the ride. So some of you may recognize this area, but some may not. But we are in southeastern Virginia, and this is the Colonial Parkway. And if you're ever this way, I highly recommend you check this out. It's a really good ride. About 20, I think it's 21 or 23 miles, and it connects the historic triangle, as we call it here, and that is Yorktown, Williamsburg, and Jamestown. And if you ride this from beginning to end, and we are at the beginning in Yorktown, you will go through all three of those places, and you know, it's a really pretty ride. It's really laid back, nice wide road, pretty much this cobblestone design the entire time. Basically the entire length is like 45 miles per hour. Make sure you watch your speed because it is enforced. But it's just a nice ride to kind of sit back, enjoy the scenery. It goes along the York River, goes up to the James River, and there's just a lot of nice things to see along the way. So enough about the ride. Let's talk about the 19 Voyager. So I've had it since new. Bought it brand new in about August of 19, and we started putting miles on it immediately. So just a little bit of history lesson. What got me in the direction of this motorcycle in particular was, and to go back even a little further, so for years I was a law enforcement officer, and about a decade of all those years was spent as a police motor officer. And when I was riding for work, and it was my job to ride a motorcycle every day, the last thing I really felt like doing on the weekends and on the evenings was going for a motorcycle ride. So the bike I owned at the time was like an 05 VTX that I had for a while, and that thing really just sat in the garage. Once I retired, and I was off the motorcycle, I immediately wanted to get back on and wanted to ride. And the VTX we had at the time, you know, it was set up for a passenger. My wife rides with me, and has, you know, throughout all the time we've been married. And so it was set up for touring, but it just wasn't comfortable enough. And we got back from a ride one day, and she said, you know what? I can't do long rides on that. And I said, okay, does that mean I can buy a new motorcycle? And she said, sure. And within a week, I had this. So, let's talk about who are the kind of people who are going to be looking for a bike like this. Well, I think it's one of two. Either you're a lone rider who wants a lot of storage, who wants a big heavy bike that can munch miles, and so you get a bike like this. You want a big V-twin, a big bulky heavy bike that you want to ride, and that's just your thing. Okay, so the second one is, it was what I think was targeted, and the couples who were targeted with this bike, is that it's a husband and wife, boyfriend, girlfriend that want to ride together, and they do it on a bike like this very well. So I think that was what Kawasaki was targeting when they created their flagship, which is the Voyager here. So we decided that we wanted to dip our toes into the world of motorcycle touring, and I had pretty much decided at that time that because we really weren't sure if we were going to like touring, I wasn't going to spend Goldwing money. And I rode Harleys at work, and my experience with them is that if I was going to buy one, I was going to need the service plan. And I I did not want one. And this channel is not to brand bash, but I do have experience with them, and my experience with them ruled them out when I was considering a bike for longer distance touring. So we came across this and just really liked it and thought it was a good value for the money. At the time, I think I only paid $15,000 for it. It was about to become a leftover if they didn't sell it when they did, so we got a decent deal on it, and it gave us an opportunity to see if motorcycle touring was something that we liked. Because I'll be honest, if my wife didn't ride with me and I wasn't doing any kind of extended touring, I would not have this motorcycle. You know, in terms of what I enjoy riding, I'm probably more along the sport tour. The more I ride them, the more I like them. I like the smoothness, the quiet, just the overall handling and abilities of those bikes, and they've come a long ways, and there's a lot of good options. So if it wasn't for the fact that my wife rode with me, I don't think I would have this. But being the value that it was, it gave us a chance to see if we liked motorcycle touring. And so anyways, let's talk about the good things and the bad. We'll kind of start from the ground up. So literally at the ground, we have the tires. This is on its first replacement set of tires. The back went at like 6,800 miles, which doesn't surprise me. These big heavy bikes are very hard on tires, so I expected that. The front tire was just replaced at 9,000, and it probably could have gone a little further, but we had our trip down to the Smoky Mountains planned, and I really just wanted to have a new tire, and I felt like the other one did not have a lot of life left. It might have been kind of pushing it in terms of what it could offer in its lifespan there. So I went ahead and put a new tire on. Tires, Bridgestone Excedra Max on the back, Bridgestone Battle Cruise on the front. Great tires, no issues with handling in the rain. So anyways, from there we got the power plant. When I was shopping, I noticed that Kawasaki's been using the 1700 in this since like 09, and you know, if you go through the communities of forums and online reviews, there really are no issues with this motor. It's considered to be pretty reliable. So that was a good thing. There was no like one commonality in terms of problems or anything like that with this motor. And people who had them were putting a lot of miles on them with relatively very little amount of maintenance or problems. And I will say at 10,569 miles, it has been problem free. The only thing I had to do under warranty was have I think it was the left rear shock replaced, and that was because it started leaking its fluid out, and so that was simple enough. Kawasaki replaced it under warranty, but there has been no mechanical issues. I haven't had an engine light turn on. It hasn't left me stranded. So you know, the Japanese reliability is definitely built into this motorcycle, so you've got it there. Comfort. Well, let's talk about comfort. So I've owned a lot of motorcycles over the years, and I've ridden a lot of bikes, and you know, my dad even had a Goldwing, and I will say that's very comfortable. However, this is the most comfortable motorcycle out of the box that I've ever experienced. It is the seat is very pillow top like. In fact, I just did an 8-hour 500-mile day, and I really had no pains. I mean, I was getting a little stiff just from sitting in that kind of a singular position for a while, but the seat is very comfortable. My wife, who also has done thousands of miles on this bike, also loves her seating setup back there, kind of with the touring pack. The back seat wraps around you. The seat she sits on is very large, very, very cushioned. So we're able to do longer distances that you just could not do on, I've owned a Raider, I've owned the VTX, Shadows. There's just no way you could have done on those what you do on this one. So the comfort is definitely there if you're thinking about that. And I think I said this a little bit before, it is a bike that is just good at munching miles. Like if you just want to put miles behind you and travel and see things, this bike is fantastic for that. So let's talk about the power. So when I got it, I was really not happy with the power. You know, coming off the Harleys, and the last generation that I rode was a 2014 with the 103 high output, and I just felt like this, compared to that, was very poor performing, even with one person on it. And then when you put a passenger on and loaded it down, I was actually contemplating getting rid of it. Then I came across Ivan Tune, or Ivanizing, and that actually saved the motorcycle for me. I put some slip-on, Cobra slip-ons on it, did the Ivan Tune, and it just woke the bike up like you can't even imagine. It's like a different motorcycle, so it saved it. I could not have dealt with the power. It was just so choked from the factory that, you know, and I think that's a lot of EPA garbage that is making these bikes come out so lean and so poorly performing motorcycles when they could do so much better with simple ECU tuning. So, you know, thankfully Ivan saved this motorcycle, but that was really the only issue. So some of the smaller critiques is this, just thinking of it offhand. This bike does not come with heated hand grips, and I think that's kind of a tragedy that it doesn't, because, you know, the MSRP on these now is, I think it's 18 or 19,000, and I just can't believe Kawasaki can't figure out how to put $300 heated hand grips on a motorcycle. You know, if you need to raise the price $300, then do it, you know. But a touring motorcycle, just absolutely, it should be expected that they come with heated hand grips, okay? Maybe not heated seats, but heated hand grips for sure. So, in the rain, how does it do? Well, it's got a big fairing in the front, a huge windshield. I can tell you, for me, I looked through the windshield on this motorcycle, and you know, that's not a problem for me. I know some people have lowered their windshields. I will say that when it rains, the wind does not shed the rain off of your windshield, because the nose of the front of this actually keeps the majority of wind off of this off the windshield here. So rain hits the windshield, just sits there, and I'll be honest, that's annoying as the rider to have to look through that. And the only way it dries is like through evaporation, which to me, that's not okay. That's just very annoying. It's like you have rain on your visor, helmet shield, and then you have it on the windshield. That's just not blowing off. So that's kind of annoying. But other than that, it protects you from the rain pretty good. And we just rode like 400 miles in the rain. So it does have cruise control, and I believe for a touring motorcycle, that's an absolute must. It's nice to be able to relax your hand, relax your arms, and let the motorcycle, you know, just cruise along. Especially for interstate rides, we rely on it heavily. The motorcycle does interstate speeds very easily. I would say that the overdrive is probably a little too low in terms of gearing, in that the RPMs probably could be a little bit higher. At like 82 or 84 miles an hour of GPS speed, it's running like a little over 3,000 RPMs. So that overdrive gear, you barely ever use it. I use 5th up to 65 easy, and especially in the mountains, it would just get you geared down too low for climbing hills. It would just kind of lug the motor, and especially without the Ivan Tune, it was very buzzy, and it vibrates a lot. I will tell you now, I don't feel at cruising speeds any vibration in my arms, my hands, my feet. The floorboards are floated, so there is little to no vibration felt as you're cruising along. Like as I'm driving around right now, I don't feel any vibration. So that's a big deal. The bike is just very smooth when you're cruising. At idle, it's much smoother than any Harley you've ever seen. It's not shaking the mirrors off. So, you know, it's pretty well balanced. The handling, and you know, this bike has spent a lot of time with us in the twisties. We've ridden the tail of the Dragon several times, and a lot of the roads that are like that, Moonshiner 28, Charahola Skyway. Blue Ridge Parkway. And I will say that for its size, even fully loaded, it goes to the corners very well. It actually has quite a bit of lean angle for its size, and it performs very well. It's actually fun, even with a passenger loaded down, you can kind of ride it a little bit spirited. So the handling is there. So anyways, would I buy this again? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think for the money, it's an absolute fantastic value. I think if you search even now, you can get them for, I don't know, maybe 17, 18. And if you think about it in the realm of touring motorcycles, that's not much money. I mean, if you go to anything touring that Harley or Indian has, you're looking at upper 20s, low 30s. Some of the Indians are mid 30s. Pretty much any Goldwing now is going to cost you about 30. So there aren't a lot of options if you want to dip your toes into the world of touring to see if you like it, and maybe if you do, and I think we kind of are the same way, that depending on where we go with this, I think eventually I'll end up on a Goldwing. Is a Goldwing worth $12,000 more? After riding them, I would say yeah, they probably are. You really get a lot for your money with those, and they have a lot more features that this bike just doesn't have. But for what this bike is and for what it offers at the price point that it sits at currently, in terms of V-twins, I don't really know what competes with it. Reliability is going to be fantastic with these. Is Harley going to be as reliable? Is Indian going to be as reliable? I don't know. I guess it depends. But overall, considering the price, you're getting quite a bit of capability for not a lot of money. So 10,500 miles of problem-free use out of Kawasaki. The bike was not perfect out of the box, like I talked about. It needed the Ivanizing, otherwise I couldn't have done it. But for some people, you may hop on it and go, hey, you know what? I don't mind the power at all. And really, if you're just riding it all by yourself, you may not even notice that. But that is a negative. But the bike has so many positives that I think things like that are easily fixed with Ivanizing, and actually, that brings up another point. Some people have been concerned about warranty issues after you do that. So I had the pipes put on, or I put them on myself. I had it Ivanized and had no issues with any warranty work when my shock went bad. So, I mean, if you have a problem that's ECU related, then it's possible that they may give you some flack over that. But overall, I there was no way that I was going to keep it if I didn't have it Ivanized. So if you own a Voyager and you're thinking about it, just stop thinking about it. Ship that thing off to Ivan. Let him make it the way it should be. And you certainly, I promise you, you will not regret it. It's definitely money well spent. I think it was $350 when I did it. So, anyways, what are the plans for the bike going forward? Well, right now is just to keep it, and I'm going to keep putting miles on it. I'm enjoying it. It's like I said, problem free. I can't complain really. The wife likes it, and eventually I'm going to do a video where we can talk about the comfort from a passenger's perspective. And we're going to do one here, excuse me, and talk to my wife about what she thinks about it. Let her, it'd be a good video to gather your wife or girlfriend and sit and listen to what a passenger thinks about it. Because if you're going to tour with your wife or girlfriend, first of all, don't do it at the same time. Okay, if that made anybody laugh, click the like button and maybe subscribe. Okay, if that made you laugh, because my wife won't laugh, but if you do, then that'll make it okay. It'll balance things out. Okay. No, but in all seriousness, if you're gonna ride with your significant other, they better be as comfortable, if not more so, than you are. Otherwise, they're not going to want to do it. So that's something to think about. You know, I see too many times where, like, the guy is sitting on a Mustang seat and the girl's behind him sitting on what looks like a padded 2x4 and can't figure out why she doesn't want to ride. If you want them to ride with you, you have to make the bike comfortable. It has to be an enjoyable experience. So we'll do a video about that. But look, hey, I thank you for watching, and I thanks you. If you have any questions, let's discuss it in the comments. If you want a particular video about the bike, I'll do a walk around video so you can kind of see what it looks like. Some of the things I've done to it. But anyways, hey, drive safe out there, and we'll see you next time.